I'll search for information about Sigma male traits and Machiavelli's philosophy to create an authentic, well-researched script. Now I'll create a comprehensive, dark, and engaging script about Sigma males through the lens of Machiavellian philosophy, following the template structure provided. In 1513, Niccolò Machiavelli wrote something in The Prince that most people misunderstand to this day. He said that the most dangerous man is not the one who seeks power openly. It's the one who holds power invisibly, the one who moves through the world unnoticed, silent, strategic, self-sufficient. Machiavelli never called them Sigma males, but he described them perfectly. Men who operate outside the hierarchy. Men who refuse to play the game everyone else is trapped in. Men who understand that true power doesn't come from titles, status, or validation. It comes from freedom. And freedom, according to Machiavelli, is the most dangerous force in the world. Because a free man cannot be controlled. Niccolò Machiavelli, 1469 to 1527, Italian diplomat, political philosopher, strategist. To the world he wrote about princes and power, about how to seize kingdoms and maintain control. But to those who read carefully, he revealed something else. The psychology of the lone wolf, the man who needs no one, the man who thrives in isolation. Machiavelli understood that society is built on dependence, on hierarchy, on the desperate need for approval. And he knew that the man who breaks free from that need becomes something else entirely, something most people fear, something most people cannot comprehend. Tonight we explore 12 dark and strange traits that define the Sigma male. Traits that Machiavelli himself would recognize. Traits that make these men unique, powerful, and deeply misunderstood. This is the Hidden Codex. Before we go deeper into the psychology that most people refuse to acknowledge, if you sense there's more to power than what society teaches, if you're ready to see what the hierarchy doesn't want you to see, subscribe to the Hidden Codex. Turn on notifications, because what comes next cannot be unlearned. Let's begin. The first trait is strategic invisibility. Machiavelli wrote in The Prince that the wise ruler understands when to be seen and when to vanish. The Sigma male has mastered this completely. He doesn't seek attention. He doesn't need the spotlight. While alpha males compete for dominance, building their image, collecting followers, the Sigma operates in the background. Invisible, watching, learning. This isn't shyness. This isn't social anxiety. This is tactical positioning. The Sigma understands something fundamental about power. The moment you become visible, you become a target. The moment people know your plans, your weaknesses, your desires, they can use them against you. So he stays hidden. He observes without being observed. He influences without being identified. He moves through social structures like a ghost, touching nothing, leaving no trace. Machiavelli would call this the art of strategic withdrawal, the ability to be present without being accountable, to shape outcomes without claiming credit. And here's what most people don't understand. This invisibility isn't weakness. It's the ultimate strength. Because while everyone else is performing, competing for scraps of validation, the Sigma is building real power. Silent power. The kind that doesn't need announcement. Have you ever noticed someone in a room who says very little but somehow everyone remembers? Someone who doesn't fight for attention but commands it anyway? That's strategic invisibility in action. And once you see it, you realize most people are just noise. The second trait is emotional detachment. Machiavelli wrote that a prince must learn to not be good when necessary, to set aside sentiment when strategy demands it. The Sigma male lives this principle completely. He doesn't form attachments easily. He doesn't need emotional validation. He doesn't seek approval or connection the way most people do. This disturbs people. They call him cold, distant, unfeeling. They're wrong. The Sigma feels deeply, but he's learned something crucial. Emotions are leverage, and the moment you show someone what matters to you, you give them power over you. So he keeps his feelings hidden, protected. He processes alone. He heals alone. He celebrates alone. Not because he can't connect, because he won't hand others the keys to his destruction. Research in psychology shows that this kind of detachment often develops as a defense mechanism, protection against a world that punishes vulnerability. But for the Sigma, it becomes something more. It becomes freedom. Freedom from manipulation, freedom from expectation, freedom from the exhausting dance of emotional performance that traps most people. Think about your own life. How many times have your emotions been used against you? How many times has caring too much led to suffering? The Sigma learned this lesson early, and he decided never to forget it. In practice, this looks like a man who walks away easily, who doesn't chase, who doesn't beg, who doesn't negotiate his worth. Someone insults him, he doesn't react. Someone leaves, he doesn't follow. Someone tries to manipulate him emotionally, he sees through it instantly, because he's not playing that game. Machiavelli understood this perfectly. He wrote that dependency is the root of all weakness. The moment you need someone, you become their prisoner. The Sigma needs no one, and that makes him untouchable. The third trait is moral flexibility. This is where things get dark, where most people stop listening, because what I'm about to say challenges everything you've been taught about right and wrong. Machiavelli argued that morality is a luxury only the weak can afford, that the truly powerful understand ethics are situational, tools to be used when useful, discarded when they're not. The Sigma male operates from this understanding. He doesn't believe in absolute good or absolute evil. He believes in effectiveness, in results, in survival. This doesn't make him a monster. It makes him a realist. He'll help you if it serves him. He'll betray you if it serves him. He'll tell the truth or lie with equal ease, depending on which outcome benefits his goals. Psychologists studying Machiavellianism have found this trait correlates with strategic thinking and long-term planning. High Macs, as they're called, can delay gratification, plan years ahead, and adjust their tactics fluidly. The Sigma embodies this completely. He has no loyalty to systems that don't serve him, no allegiance to rules he didn't create, no commitment to morality that limits his freedom. Sounds disturbing, doesn't it? But ask yourself this: how many times has playing by the rules gotten you ahead? How many times has being good rewarded you? The Sigma stopped waiting for fairness. He creates his own. In practical terms, this means he'll work with anyone if it's useful, abandon anyone if it's necessary, shift positions without guilt or hesitation. This isn't psychopathy. Psychopaths are impulsive, reckless, short-sighted. The Sigma is none of these. This is calculated pragmatism, the understanding that the world operates on power, not principle, and the only question that matters is whether you're willing to see that clearly. Machiavelli wrote that men judge by appearances, by the outcome. Few can see what you truly are. Most only see what you seem to be. The Sigma understands this. He manages perception. He controls the narrative. He shows people exactly what they need to see. Nothing more, nothing less. The fourth trait is self-reliance bordering on isolation. The Sigma male doesn't just prefer being alone. He requires it. Machiavelli wrote extensively about the danger of dependence. He argued that a prince who relies on others for protection, for resources, for validation, is a prince who will fall. The Sigma has internalized this completely. He builds his life so he needs no one. He develops skills so he can survive anything. He earns his own money, solves his own problems, makes his own decisions. He doesn't ask for help, doesn't seek advice, doesn't collaborate unless absolutely necessary. This extreme independence often develops early. Research shows that many people with Sigma traits experienced rejection or neglect in childhood. They learned that relying on others leads to disappointment, so they stopped relying. And what started as a wound became a weapon. Because while everyone else is trapped in networks of obligation, reciprocity, and dependence, the Sigma is free. He owes nothing, he needs nothing, he can walk away from anything, anyone, anytime. This terrifies people who need connection to function. They can't comprehend someone who genuinely prefers solitude, who recharges alone, who thinks better alone, who is more himself alone. They call him broken, damaged, afraid of intimacy. They're projecting. The Sigma isn't afraid of connection. He's selective about it. He knows that most relationships are transactions, that most people want something, that very few are worth the energy required. So he stays alone and builds an empire of one. In practice, this means he doesn't join teams unless leading them, doesn't attend social gatherings unless required, doesn't maintain friendships that demand constant attention. He has acquaintances, contacts, strategic relationships. But true connection? Rare, reserved for the few who earn it. Machiavelli would recognize this immediately. The lone wolf who trusts no one fully, who keeps his own counsel, who knows that ultimately you face the world alone. And the Sigma has made peace with that. The fifth trait is nonconformity as identity. The Sigma male doesn't just ignore social norms, he rejects them fundamentally. Machiavelli wrote that conventional wisdom is the enemy of innovation, that those who follow the crowd are destined to remain mediocre. The Sigma lives this truth. He doesn't care what society expects, what his family wants, what his peers are doing, what tradition demands. He creates his own path, his own rules, his own definition of success. This isn't rebellion for rebellion's sake. That's just reaction. The Sigma doesn't react to the system. He ignores it entirely. He builds outside the hierarchy. He succeeds outside the structure. He lives outside the matrix everyone else is trapped in. Psychological research suggests this extreme nonconformity often stems from early experiences of exclusion, being pushed out of the group, being told you don't fit. Most people break from this. They change themselves to fit in. The Sigma does the opposite. He decides the group wasn't worth joining, that fitting in is for people with no vision of their own, and he walks away. This creates a strange phenomenon. The Sigma often appears successful by conventional standards, money, skills, influence, but achieved through completely unconventional means. He doesn't climb the corporate ladder. He builds his own ladder, or burns the whole structure down and creates something new. He doesn't follow trends, doesn't seek approval, doesn't care if his choices make sense to others. In practice, this looks like a man who might be wealthy but dresses simply, influential but shuns the spotlight, connected but maintains distance. He does everything his own way and refuses to explain or justify. Machiavelli understood this instinct. He wrote that the innovator has for enemies all those who have done well under the old conditions. The Sigma knows this. He knows his existence threatens everyone invested in the hierarchy, everyone who climbed the ladder, everyone who played by the rules, because his success proves the rules are optional, and that makes him dangerous. The sixth trait is strategic patience. Unlike psychopaths who act impulsively, unlike narcissists who need immediate gratification, the Sigma male can wait. Years, decades, a lifetime if necessary. Machiavelli wrote that patience is the weapon of the wise, that rushing reveals desperation, that true power belongs to those who can delay. The Sigma embodies this completely. He doesn't chase opportunities. He waits for the right one. He doesn't force outcomes. He positions himself so outcomes come to him. He plants seeds knowing he might never see the harvest. He makes moves knowing the payoff might be years away. This requires something most people lack: faith in delayed gratification, trust in the process, willingness to suffer now for power later. Research in Machiavellianism shows this trait correlates with long-term strategic thinking, the ability to see 10 moves ahead, to sacrifice short-term gains for long-term dominance. The Sigma lives in this space. He'll take a lower-paying job if it teaches valuable skills. He'll endure loneliness if it means avoiding bad relationships. He'll stay invisible if it means building real foundation. While everyone else is chasing instant results, instant fame, instant validation, he's playing a different game. A longer game, a deeper game. And when the time is right, when everything is in position, he moves. Decisively, ruthlessly, without hesitation. In practice, this looks like someone who seems to do nothing for years, then suddenly emerges with massive success. Someone who was quiet, then suddenly influential. Someone who was alone, then suddenly surrounded by opportunity. People call it luck, overnight success. The Sigma knows better. He was working in silence, building in darkness, waiting for the perfect moment. Machiavelli wrote that opportunities multiply as they are seized, but only for those patient enough to wait for the right ones. The Sigma understands this in his bones. He doesn't grab at everything. He waits for his moment, and when it comes, he doesn't miss. The seventh trait is cognitive empathy without emotional empathy. This is one of the darkest traits, one that separates the Sigma from ordinary men. He can read you perfectly, understand your motivations, predict your reactions, know exactly what you're feeling and why, but he doesn't feel it with you. Psychologists call this cognitive empathy, the ability to understand emotions intellectually without experiencing them viscerally. Machiavellians score high on this. They can map your psychology, identify your weaknesses, know exactly what you need to hear, and use all of it to their advantage. The Sigma male has developed this to an art form. He watches, he listens, he absorbs information about people without revealing anything about himself. He knows what you want before you do. He sees your patterns before you recognize them. He understands your fears, your desires, your triggers. But he doesn't care about them, not emotionally. He uses this knowledge strategically, to influence, to position, to protect himself from manipulation. This disturbs people when they realize it. when they understand that the person who seemed so understanding, so perceptive, wasn't actually connecting, was just analyzing. Like a chess player studying the board. In practice, this means the Sigma can have conversations that feel deep, meaningful, intimate, while remaining completely detached. He mirrors your energy, asks the right questions, seems interested. But internally, he's calculating, processing, determining whether you're useful, neutral, or a threat. This isn't psychopathy. Psychopaths lack empathy entirely. The Sigma has it, he just doesn't let it guide his decisions. Machiavelli would recognize this immediately. The ability to understand human nature without being enslaved to it, to see clearly without sentiment clouding vision. And here's the disturbing part. This trait makes the Sigma incredibly effective in relationships, in business, in any situation requiring influence. Because he gives people what they need, says what they want to hear, creates the experience they're seeking, all while maintaining complete internal freedom. The 8th trait is outcome orientation over process. The Sigma male doesn't care how something gets done. He cares that it gets done. Machiavelli wrote that the end justifies the means, that results matter, not methods, that history judges winners, not how they won. The Sigma operates from this principle entirely. He has no attachment to doing things the right way, the proper way, the conventional way. He experiments, he breaks rules, he finds shortcuts, he uses whatever works. This makes him unpredictable, because he doesn't follow patterns, doesn't stick to playbooks, doesn't care about precedent. If lying works, he lies. If honesty works, he's honest. If waiting works, he waits. If aggression works, he's aggressive. He's fluid, adaptable, willing to shift tactics midstream without guilt or hesitation. Research shows this kind of flexibility requires high cognitive function, the ability to assess situations rapidly, to shift strategies without emotional attachment to previous plans. The Sigma has developed this naturally. In practice, this means he might start a project one way, completely change approach midway, then finish using a third method entirely. People find this chaotic, confusing. The Sigma finds it efficient because he's not performing for others, not proving he can follow a system. He's solving problems, achieving goals, getting results, and the path doesn't matter. Machiavelli understood this completely. He watched princes who followed all the rules lose their kingdoms, and princes who broke every rule maintain power. The lesson was clear. Effectiveness beats ethics. Results beat righteousness. Winning beats anything else. The Sigma absorbed this lesson early and never forgot it. The 9th trait is controlled intensity. The Sigma male doesn't explode. He doesn't lose control. He doesn't have emotional outbursts. But beneath the surface, there's power, intensity, force. Coiled, waiting, ready. Machiavelli wrote that a prince must be both fox and lion, cunning and fierce, strategic and violent when necessary. The Sigma embodies this duality. Most of the time, he's the fox, quiet, clever, observant, harmless. But when threatened, when pushed, when necessary, the lion emerges. And it's shocking, because no one saw it coming. This controlled intensity allows the Sigma to function in civilized society while maintaining the capacity for raw aggression. He's not tame, he's patient. He's not weak, he's strategic. He's not passive, he's waiting. Psychologists studying this trait note that people with high self-control combined with high aggression potential are the most dangerous, because they can plan, they can wait, they can strike with precision. The Sigma has both. In practice, this means months or years of silence, followed by one devastating move, long periods of peace, then sudden overwhelming force. He doesn't fight often, but when he does, he fights to annihilate. This makes people underestimate him. They see the calm surface and think there's nothing beneath. They mistake control for weakness, patience for passivity. Then they push too far and discover what was always there. Machiavelli warned about this type. The quiet man who seems reasonable until he isn't, who appears cooperative until cooperation ends. The Sigma knows his capacity for darkness, for violence, for ruthlessness. He just keeps it buried until it's needed. And when it's needed, he doesn't hesitate. The 10th trait is information asymmetry. The Sigma male always knows more than he reveals, always learns more than he shares, always understands more than he demonstrates. This is pure Machiavellian strategy. Knowledge is power, but only if others don't know you have it. So the Sigma collects information constantly, reads people, studies systems, gathers data, but he never shows his full hand, never reveals everything he knows. never lets on how much he understands. He asks questions, plays dumb, pretends ignorance, encourages others to underestimate him, all while building a comprehensive map of the environment. This creates massive advantage, because people reveal things to those they think are naive, share information with those they believe are harmless. The Sigma is neither, but he lets them think he is. Research in strategic deception shows this technique is highly effective. Appearing less knowledgeable than you are lowers others' defenses, makes them careless, overconfident. Then you use what they revealed. In practice, this means the Sigma often knows about problems before they're announced, understands dynamics before they're explained, sees patterns before they're obvious, but he doesn't say anything. He just positions accordingly. People think he's lucky, that he has good timing, that opportunities just fall into his lap. The Sigma knows better. He was watching, learning, waiting for the information to give him an edge. Then he moved. Machiavelli wrote extensively about the importance of intelligence gathering, of spies, of knowing your enemies better than they know themselves. The Sigma applies this to everything. Every conversation is intelligence, every interaction is data, every relationship is reconnaissance, and he never stops collecting. Because in a world where everyone is broadcasting everything, the man who listens and says nothing has the ultimate advantage. He knows everyone's secrets, and no one knows his. The 11th trait is selective vulnerability. This might seem contradictory after everything we've discussed, but it's perhaps the Sigma's most sophisticated weapon. The Sigma knows that showing no vulnerability at all makes you inhuman, suspicious, untrustworthy. So he reveals carefully chosen weaknesses, strategic flaws, calculated imperfections. Machiavelli understood this. He wrote that a prince must appear to have certain qualities even if he doesn't. That perception is reality in the realm of power. The Sigma uses vulnerability as armor. He'll share a minor struggle, admit a small mistake, reveal a harmless fear. This makes people comfortable, makes them think they know him, makes them lower their guard. Meanwhile, his real vulnerabilities remain hidden, protected, unrevealed. This is perhaps the darkest manipulation, because it feels authentic. People think they're connecting, think they're seeing the real person. They're not. They're seeing what he wants them to see. Research in social psychology shows that selective self-disclosure creates false intimacy, makes people feel closer than they actually are, builds trust that isn't actually earned. The Sigma uses this instinctively. In practice, this means he might tell you about a failed relationship while hiding his real attachment wounds, share a work setback while concealing his actual ambitions, admit to anxiety while masking his core fears. He gives you enough truth to feel satisfied, but never the truth that could hurt him. Machiavelli would call this masterful statecraft, the art of seeming open while remaining closed, of appearing vulnerable while staying protected. And it works, because people want to believe in authenticity, want to think they've found someone real. The Sigma provides the illusion, maintains the mystery, protects the core. Always. The 12th and final trait is existential self-sufficiency. This goes beyond practical independence, beyond emotional detachment. This is something deeper, darker. The Sigma male has made peace with ultimate aloneness. He understands at a fundamental level that we enter this world alone and leave it alone. That connection is temporary, that everyone ultimately serves themselves. That trust is an illusion we maintain for comfort. And he's not disturbed by this. He's liberated by it. Machiavelli wrote that a man who depends on the goodwill of others builds on sand. That fortune is a woman who favors the bold, not the trusting. The Sigma has internalized this completely. He doesn't expect loyalty, doesn't count on support, doesn't believe in forever. He operates as if he's already alone, already abandoned, already betrayed. Not out of pessimism, out of realism. This creates unshakable foundation, because when you've already accepted the worst, nothing can break you. Psychological research shows that this level of existential acceptance is rare. Most people spend their lives running from the reality of isolation, building elaborate defenses against the truth of impermanence. The Sigma faced it early and survived. In practice, this means he can lose everything and rebuild, can be betrayed without breaking, can face rejection without despair, because he never truly counted on anything anyway. This is what makes him truly dangerous. Not his intelligence, not his strategy, not his ruthlessness, his complete lack of need. Because a man who needs nothing cannot be controlled, cannot be manipulated, cannot be broken. He's already whole, already complete, already at peace with the void. Machiavelli would recognize this as the ultimate power. The prince who cannot be threatened because he's already accepted loss, who cannot be seduced because he's already content, who cannot be destroyed because he's already survived his own psychological annihilation. The Sigma male stands alone, needs no one, fears nothing. Not because he's strong, because he's free. So there you have it, 12 dark traits that define the Sigma male through the lens of Machiavellian philosophy. Strategic invisibility, emotional detachment, moral flexibility, extreme self-reliance, identity through non-conformity, strategic patience, cognitive empathy without emotional empathy, outcome over process, controlled intensity, information asymmetry, selective vulnerability, existential self-sufficiency. These aren't traits society celebrates, they're traits society fears, because they represent freedom from the system, independence from the hierarchy, rejection of the rules everyone else follows. Machiavelli understood 5 centuries ago what the Sigma male embodies today, that true power belongs to those who refuse to play the game, who operate outside the structure, who need nothing from anyone. The question is, do you recognize these traits in yourself? Have you felt the pull toward isolation, toward independence, toward a life that makes no sense to anyone else? Or does this disturb you? Does the idea of someone this detached, this strategic, this free, make you uncomfortable? Both reactions are valid, because the Sigma path isn't for everyone. It's lonely, it's misunderstood. It's often punished by a society that demands conformity. But for those who walk it anyway, there's something else, something most people never find. True autonomy, real power, absolute freedom. If this resonated with you, if you see yourself in these dark mirrors, subscribe to the Hidden Codex. Hit that notification bell, because we're just getting started exploring the psychology they don't want you to understand. Next time, we'll dive into something even darker, the hidden teachings of Carl Jung on the shadow self and why integrating your darkness is the only path to real power. You won't want to miss that. Until then, stay invisible, stay strategic, stay free,